Since our last meeting last month, I have embarked upon creating a book of poems, and I got the title from someone who shared a poem in the last reading, and the poem was called Precious Mettle, and I changed the spelling. Instead of M-E-T-A-L, I changed it to M-E-T-T-L-E, and this is the manuscript. And Sandy Eastoke sitting there. This is her picture of a changing woman and Blue Coyote. I'm going to use that for the cover. And it's all full of poems. And usually what I do, what I did last time, in a month's time I read sort of the poems I wrote. But since this whole thing came together, the muse has just been slamming. And I must have 25 or 30 poems there. Sorry, there's no way I could share all these. But I'll just share a few from since our last meeting last month. So this is the poem called Precious Mettle. Precious metal does not always take shape in the form you thought it would. And that is precisely what makes it precious. This next one's called The Commandment and the Invitation. The one and only commandment of the false God who lives inside all of us and pretends to stand apart or aside from this living, dying process flowing through all forms and sentient beings is, thou shalt not be aware. The living invitation of the true God of all living and dying life forms boils down to this: do no harm. Which means respect your true nature and eat of the fruit of the tree of knowing by embracing and celebrating your own ever-changing, ever-transforming nature and that of all other life forms and sentient beings as well, as we all serve the only true function of life in this universal dance and play of Lila, which is the growth, unfolding, and movement of universal divinity and consciousness. Therefore, the essential question to ask about any thought, movement, or impulse of which you are unsure is this thought, feeling, action, etc., cutting off and shutting down, or helping to further and grow my awareness, immersion, and participation in the flow of life? Which can be, despite your best efforts to make it otherwise, an extremely complex and paradoxical proposition with which you will be wrestling for the rest of your life. Okay, this next one is called, Could We Please Just Stop? Could we please just stop distracting and deluding ourselves just for a moment, long enough to recognize that we are all complicit in carrying on the modern crusades of corporate capitalism and the oligarchy. We are a nation of addicts whose destructive ways of life are crumbling and spinning out of control, whose fixes aren't fixing anything, but leading us ever deeper into hellish realms of violence, paranoia, dismemberment, and death. And we are powerless to stop it or change it. Like anyone who decides to enter a process of recovery, we must first take this first step by acknowledging to ourselves and each other, to the world and God, just how monstrously destructive certain aspects of our collective life have become to our brothers and sisters around the world, to the planet itself, and most of all, to ourselves.
Instead of doing it one
Could we please stop rationalizing and defending our rape and plunder of the earth and its inhabitants, and just stop and take a good look at what's really going on? This would be a start. Yes, this would be a very good place to start.